think Queen said it best when there was a line in their song that said, "Are you going slightly mad?" We are in the midst of a lockdown, we're all working from home, and I think at some point we're all going to go absolutely stir crazy. So, I'm going to give you the 6 tips on how to stay sane when we're working from home. Hello, my name is Brendan and I'm here to tell you how you can survive working from home now that we are doing it all the time, every day, along with everybody else. But first, you know what to do. Please click the like button and also just nudge the subscribe and the little bell that's on there. Make sure that that lights up because that means that you will get the content the moment it is released. So, as it stands, we are now coming to the end of October in the UK and there's all sorts of shenanigans going on around tier 1, 2, 3, 4 maybe if you're up in Scotland, or full lockdowns over in France and Germany. But one thing that's remained constant is that we're all having to work from home. Now for me, working from home in the past was an absolute pleasure. Well, technically it was working not from the office. Very rarely would I be in the office 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and I would enjoy working from home, working from where we work, working from wherever. Unfortunately, thanks COVID, we can't do that anymore because we now are unable to continue our daily lives and work in the office, so we're all stuck at home. Welcome to my office. With that, we are surrounded by distractions. Ooh, Netflix. And the kitchen. Anybody fancy a cup of tea? Or even Amazon. My word, I think, judging by the number of boxes that have arrived over the last 5 months, I think single-handedly we've managed to keep Amazon afloat. With that in mind, and conscious that as the winter months arrive and it gets darker outside and we begin to battle a little bit more with the working from home scenario, I thought it'd be useful to give you 6 tips on how to stay sane when working from home. I'm conscious that the COVID crisis started in March and we're now in October, so if you haven't stayed sane over the last 6 months, this video is probably a little bit late for you. But there is plenty of opportunity, and bearing in mind that the world won't go back to how it was, and we are likely to be working in a flux of either from home or from the office over the course of the next probably 18, 24 months, if we're thinking about it. These tips will help you survive. Well, they'll help you work better and survive from a work perspective. I can't necessarily help you from maybe a personal perspective, but anyway, let's not digress. So these 6 steps to help you not go stir crazy and stay sane while working from home. Number 1, adjust your expectations. You know, what life was like working from home before is no more. We used to be able to find specific places to work, and it could be a flexible working space, or you might be able to have a desk or an office. Unfortunately, those days have gone. Why? Because if you live in a house with children or you live with other flatmates, the chances are they're at home as well. Can you just keep it down? I'm on a call. Actually, they're on a call as well. Shit, everybody's working from home. Oh my word. That's annoying. Just turn the news off because I don't really want to know that there's more coronavirus cases today and we're not going to be able to go out tomorrow. All of a sudden, this anxiety has built up that previously what used to be a pleasure from working from home has gone. So the first thing first, you need to accept that things are different. Hopefully, that's become a little bit easier and a little bit better, but that's number 1. Accept that things are different and adjust your expectations. In days gone by, you might be able to wander to the coffee shop and have a 5-minute break. You take a call and then you come back and you've got a really nice setup and you're able to go about your daily lives, just not in the office. Not anymore. Make sure you've got your mask. Think about social distancing. Make sure that you wash your hands. Other people are now at home. You've probably got to maybe look after a pet. Your children need homeschooling. You've got things going on outside that just make it really noisy. And all of a sudden you're thinking, see what I mean? So just make sure that you adjust your expectations and that sometimes shit will happen. You know, even if you are the most senior person in a business, if the doorbell goes or your kid's screaming or somebody walks behind you on a Zoom call, it's life. So just adjust your expectations and give everybody just a little bit of breathing space because you know what? Life's tough as it is. Number 2, make a plan. Because plans help. Unless it's a shit plan, and then obviously shit plans won't necessarily help, but a shit plan is better than no plan, so in actual fact, maybe a shit plan is a good idea. Anyway, the point is, have a plan. Because having external reminders can help. The old phrase of out of sight, out of mind is actually quite true, and especially if you're not going to the office where you've got a whiteboard or a notice board or somewhere that you can pin stuff up. If you don't see what you need to do, it's quite easy to forget. Whether you go for the formal schedule, plan and block out in your calendar or your diary exactly the sections that you're going to do as and when, that's up to you, or maybe it's a slightly looser to-do list. Either way, having something that you can refer to on a regular basis and you see it, trigger those memories, and then take action to deal with it. The wonderful thing about working from home is you now have the freedom to plan however you like. Obviously, you've got to make sure that you do the job that you've been employed to do if you are fortunate enough to work from home. But conversely, if you want to start at 7 and finish 4, I guess it's up to you. If you want to roll out of bed and straight into work, that is also your choice. If you want to work in your pajamas or just in your pants, not that I would necessarily suggest that on video calls, but again, it's entirely your choice. So with that, make a plan. Number 3, start your day right. Pre-COVID, you would have your morning routine and you would probably get up and you would get ready and you would go to the office and you would commute and you might have to get some public transport or jump in your car, and you created this routine and this environment that allowed you to get ready for the day. I, for one, have actually really missed it. Pre-COVID, I would walk to the gym before work and I would put the earphones in and I would catch up on the day and I'd mentally just de-stress and just prepare myself for what lay ahead. Those days have gone. I don't get that thinking time. I don't get that time to de-stress. Also, on the way home, I used to be able to just unwind, think about things, just relax. It doesn't happen anymore. Some of you might enjoy the fact that you can roll straight out of bed and into work. That, for me, takes a bit of getting used to, and I take a bit of time to get going, usually with a cup of coffee. So having some transition time is generally a good thing. Starting your day right doesn't need to be down to exactly the minute or a wish list of what you'd like to do. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and necessarily run 5 miles before work, and then you're going to do half an hour of yoga, and then you're going to grind some beans and make coffee from scratch. If you are, happy days. Kudos to you. Well done. But conversely, why not set the alarm? Make some coffee, stretch, go for a walk, check social media, and then sit down to do work. Whatever it might be, create that plan and start the day right. Because I promise you, if you start the day right, it makes the rest of it much easier. I would highly encourage you to build in some form of exercise, whether you go for a walk around the block or you do some yoga or whatever it might be. Having a bit of exercise will definitely make you feel better, even if you don't feel like it at the time. So there you go. Number 4, it's all about creating a space. It really needs to be somewhere that's quiet, it's got some creativity, it's convenient, hopefully ergonomic, although I'm fully appreciative that sometimes ergonomics kind of go straight out the window. Please don't tell health and safety, because it's all about what works for you. For those of you that are fortunate enough to have spare rooms and you can set up a mini office, happy days. But for others, if it's a kitchen table or if it's a table in the living room, please just try and make it as quiet and as comfortable as possible. One thing that isn't advisable, I was going to say acceptable, but what's acceptable for you might not necessarily be for me, is to work from your bed. I think having that lack of separation just doesn't help. Plus, if you're going to log into a Zoom call and people can see you in your pajamas and whatever's on your bedroom wall, maybe not ideal. Try and create an environment that allows you to kind of transition into that workspace, transition into that mode of thinking, but just creates an environment that allows you to work. There are some amazing inventions out there, and actually I'll try and dig out some of the links where you can get a desk that's made of cardboard. Really lightweight, but really strong and just fits in the corner. Can you get an uppy-downy desk riser thing that actually enables you to be ergonomic and stand at the kitchen table? Maybe, maybe not. All the time, just try and create an environment that allows you to get into the work mode. Easier said than done, I know, but it is something that you should try and work towards. Number 5, use tools to help with distraction. Being at home has its advantages. You can collect the post, or you can drop something off at the post office, or you can go to the supermarket, you can grab a coffee, whatever you want. But with it comes distractions. Distractions that, funnily enough, distract away from what you should actually be doing. Netflix, stop calling me. I haven't got time to chill. Seriously, I can't. Oh, God. Tiger King. you seen it? Tiger King's really bloody good, actually. I can't. I've got a meeting I need to prep for. Turn it off. See, the problem is working from home means that you have those distractions. Are you making endless cups of tea because you're really bored? Are you trying not to keep the TV on and watch a series in the background? Are you listening to the radio or actually just sat there daydreaming and watching people go by outside? All the time, these distractions are just distracting and taking you away from the cause of what you actually really need to do. So, what can you do? Quite simply, you could use a plain old timer. You know, one of those old twizzle timers that maybe your grandmother had when you were baking. Can you tell that I used to do some baking with my grandmother when I was younger? Yep, let's just move on from that. Maybe just a plain old timer that allows you to kind of block out half an hour. You know, the old Pomodoro technique of 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off actually worked really rather well. A 25-minute stint is a great way of just being able to focus concertedly and then have some time away. Obviously, if you need to do more than 25 minutes work, then you might need to do more than 25 minutes, but it's actually a good way just to get into the habit and make sure that you can switch on, and when you're on, focus really hard, and then when you're off, just relax. Conversely, you might want to use some time tracking apps, for example. As Apple says, there's always an app for that. One that comes to mind is called Rescue Time. That will just enable you to track what you're spending your time on and when. Might make interesting reading, or it might make you realise that in actual fact you're spending far too much time on TikTok. Here's looking at you. Let's all go and dance. No, so just use Rescue Time to maybe understand what you're doing, because as they say, what gets measured gets managed, so it might make some interesting reading. If you're really struggling and you're on the computer all the time, perhaps having some sight blocking apps such as Stay Focused or Limit, they may help you stay focused when you're doing your work during the day. Although, if you are working from home, that probably meant that you were working from the office. And did you have those when you were in the office? Maybe not. So you should be able to focus on working when you're working on a work laptop to be able to do what you need to do. Does that make sense? Not sure. Anyway, the point is, if you can focus at work, you should be able to focus at home. But I know that there's a lot going on around you. So just use all the tools that you can to help you do what you need to do. Finally, on the staying focused piece, if your phone is distracting, it's constantly blinking, telling you that you've got a new social media notification, just put it in a drawer or put it in a different room. I promise you, the world won't fall in if you don't have it next to you for the next half an hour, 2 hours. Anyway, however long it is, you could always just put it away and see what happens. Just saying. Number 6, create boundaries. Not the kind of boundaries that you see on the cricket pitch, because they're made of ropes and big grass pitches. But if you don't create boundaries when you're working from home, it's the simple, single, quickest way that you will create burnout. When life merges into work, merges into life, they all become together. I'm fully aware that actually what we're doing at the moment is we're living at work. This isn't actually because this is my living room, but this is where I'm working. I'm working and living in the same place. So all of a sudden, the separation between work and life has stopped or been blurred, for example. One thing that has been noted is that because we're now working from home, for those of us that are fortunate enough to do so, we feel compelled to be online longer. We feel compelled to do more. Because we're not being seen by respective line management and bosses and colleagues, there is that worry that because the laptop's open, you can always just dip in and keep going. Whilst that used to be a positive if you were able to work from home 1 or 2 days a week, it's now become the norm. And it's a bit of a worry that if you are constantly on, if you start early doors and you end up working late into the evening, just be careful that there is a burnout territory, because you don't have that transition time to say at the end of the day, right, I am done. I'm now going to commute home and just relax with the family or my other half, or enjoy doing something that I enjoy doing. Can't do it anymore. The blurring of those lines is a worry because it can lead to burnout. One way to address that is to work office hours, for example. Stick to what you used to do. Get up, go for a walk in the morning before you start work, sit down, have your lunch at a particular hour, and then at the end of the day, have an end of the day ritual. I heard recently that the Germans do that. They have a particular ritual that they implement at the end of every day to signify that they have finished working. They are ruthlessly efficient generally, and so there's probably some merit in that. I've got into the habit now that at the end of the working day, I put a jacket on and I go and walk around the block. Walk to the supermarket to pick up a pint of milk or whatever it might be. but it just means that you kind of get out of work mode. You do break that chain. Conversely, at the weekends, whereas I used to love being able to dip in and dip out of work and keep things ticking over, in the middle of the pandemic, I felt that I actually had to close the laptop down, put it on the shelf, and not look at it from Friday evening until Monday morning. Otherwise, you just didn't feel like you could escape from work. You need to do what's right for you. Some of us enjoy doing a bit more during the downtime than others, but some of you will need that break. Either the way, develop a morning plan and an end of day ritual, and I guarantee you it will help you stay sane whilst working from home. What I can't help you with is all of the noises, homeschooling. I take my hat off to every single one of you that have had to homeschool during the pandemic, because I can only imagine how challenging it's been. Whether you've had building works going on outside and you've got people shouting through the walls, whatever it might be, you are still here and you can still do it. It's not easy, and sometimes life is just a bit pants. But please don't wallow in it, because you know what? I'm here to help, and hopefully these 6 steps will help you stay sane as we go into the winter months and come out the other side, and we will all come back stronger. Isn't that right, Peter Crouch? So with that, please make sure that you do click the like button and hit subscribe. My name is Brendan, and I'm going off to watch Netflix, finish the work that I need to do, and then make supper and go for an end of day walk. Yeah, must make a plan. Anyway, that's it, and I will see you in the next video.